So for everyone who's in the chat until now, thanks for your patience. We did have some, let me mute the chat. There we go. We did have some technical issues, and we were just chatting here, me and Amy. I'm Tiffany. I'm the moderator today. And it's been fun talking to you, Amy, been fun responding to some of you guys in the chat. Again, thanks for your patience. I'm sorry for the technical issues. So I'll introduce Amy right now, and then she'll take over and continue with the presentation. So Amy is from Utah, and has a love for genealogy that started at a young age and has blossomed during the 18 months that she lived in the Philippines. Amy graduated from Brigham Young University in 2017, and she has a bachelor's in family history in genealogy, and now works in multiple capacities as a professional genealogist. While her initial research specialty was the American South, Amy now branched out into the world of Filipino genealogy. And when she's not researching, she enjoys traveling with her husband and 2 children, spending time outdoors, and trying out new gluten-free recipes, and singing along with music from the 60s. That's so fun. Thank you, Amy, for being here today. I'll turn the time over to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. We're going to plow through this as quickly as possible. My biggest focus right now is to get you as much information as we can. And then if you have any questions, please email me. Please reach out through my website. However you need to get those answers, I really want to make sure that you get as much out of this class as you can. Okay, so we are going to have a reminder. Please don't take any pictures of these slides. We're not doing any audio or video recording. Again, if you need anything or you want to go over anything, please reach out to me. Okay, so accessing these 2 programs, Google Docs and Google Sheets. Each of these programs does have their own separate website. All of the links you need are going to be in the syllabus material. Both of these are accessible through Google Drive. So if you're on Google Drive, you can go to New, Google Sheets, or Google Docs and start one from there. Everything that is created on Google Docs and Google Sheets is stored on Google Drive, which is created for every Google account that's ever created. So if we're here, this is the Google Drive website. You click on New, and then here you can see Docs and Sheets, and that's how you can access these programs from the Google Drive site. Okay, starting with Google Docs. Again, I'm just going to plow through all of this because I know we've missed out on some time, and I want you to get as much as you can. There have been some visual changes recently on just how things are laid out. Some of my screenshots are going to be the older version, some are the newer version, but if there were any changes that were pertinent to this class, I've gone ahead and done a new screenshot. So you might see some discrepancies there, but the information you're getting is still accurate. Okay, templates for Google Docs. I haven't found these to be incredibly helpful for the types of things I'm wanting to use this program for genealogy. But you can see here, you've got resumes, business letters, some newsletter options. If you are someone that's creating a newsletter for your genealogical sphere, then you can have some templates there. If you click on this button up at the template gallery, drop that down, you're going to get some more options there. So it's not just those first few that you see up at the top. Again, I don't use these a ton in Google Docs, but feel free to go through, try them all out. Okay, so I just am planning to go through menu by menu, all the different functionalities in these programs so that you can get a see for what you can do with these. Hopefully you'll get some ideas of what these can be doing for you and your specific research goals. So up at the top of this, you've got your text, format bar, and menu. This is going to be a lot of the same options that you're going to get in any other word processing system that you're using. So some of these you should be familiar with. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to get some more time, so maybe I'll take a breath. So these are going to be some of the options that you've seen before. There is a little 3-dot menu here that if you click it down, you're just going to get some more of those quick access buttons for your formatting. Here on this menu, something that I really do love using within this program is your text styles options. These are going to be either set automatically with a template if that's what you're choosing, or they'll just be default for a blank document that you're opening. When you change these, it changes things for the entire document, anything that is set with those headings. So if you click right there on that heading 1, you'll see this drop down or you can do a title, subtitle, various different headings. You can see they're all formatted slightly differently. And the best part, oh, quick right here. If you click on one, it'll give you the option to apply that setting or to update whatever you have selected in your document for that to now become that new title format. But this is the best thing I love about using these text styles. Is over on the left-hand side, there's a little button. I think in the more recent version, it might automatically show up on the side. You might not need to click a button to open it up. But what this will do is with all of the different headings that you're using, it will create for you an automatic template outline of the document that you're creating. And each of those headings on that side outline is a link. So you can click on it and it will take you to that point in the document. This is amazingly useful if you are writing a really long research report, whether or not you're professional for personal purposes. If you're doing a big family history and you want to be able to separate out each individual that you're working on, or even if you just have this massive running list of research notes from whatever you're doing. If you're using these heading styles, then you will have a clickable, basically a table of contents on this side for quick organization and for quick navigation, and you won't have to scroll through endless pages when you can just be clicking on links at the side. Also on this quick bar, you've got some fonts that you can add to. If you click on the font option, there's this more fonts button up at the top. And that will give you the option to sort through and pick as many fonts as you so desire. Last month I checked, there were 884 fonts available. So get creative because you've got some options there. Okay, the file menu here, again, this is going to be really similar to what you would see in another word processing program. You've got open, new, rename, your page setup options are going to be on here. But I do want to talk about the sharing options. So one of the best things about using Google Docs and Google Sheets is that because it is sourced from a cloud, you can have real-time live collaboration. Your sharing options are going to be really, really good. And it's really simple to share what you're working on in these programs. So if we click here on the share button, it'll open up this window. You can type in who you would want to be sharing with. I did in the new update, I don't know when it was, it must have been in the past few months, there is now a share to calendar event option. So say you're running a society or you've got a group together that you're working on stuff with. If everybody's already invited to a calendar event in your Google Calendar, then you just type the name of that event in there and what you have will automatically be shared to everybody who was invited to that event. So that way you don't have to try and type out everybody's names again when you've already sent them the information for the meeting you're having next week or whatever. So that's a really cool update and I'm glad that they did that. So after you've put in whoever you're sharing with, you'll see on this side that you've got a few different options here. So these are going to be the permissions that whoever you're sharing with is going to have when they are accessing this document. So you've got viewer, which is, I mean, just like it says, they're going to be able to see things. They're not going to be able to change anything. Commenter is nice because you can share, give permission for them to make comments on parts of the document. They can make suggestions for things to change, but those comments are not automatically going to change the document that you've been working on. And then editor, obviously, you're going to have full editing permissions for that person. So these are really helpful for the different stages of whatever you're working on. Maybe you just need some feedback. Maybe you're starting out something new and you really want to be full-time collaborating with people. You can give them editor permissions. So just be aware when you are sharing that you're going to need to be thinking about how much access you want people to have for this. Okay, you can also share it just by a URL. So if you click on this get link down at the bottom, it'll just give you a URL for that document. Which is what I've done with sharing some of my Google Sheets examples for all of you. So also when you're sharing the link, you do still have those different permissions that you can grant. So make sure that you're giving what permission you want people to have so that you're maintaining control of as much as you need to be in control of. You can also download from Google Docs into many different formats. So you can download it as a Microsoft Word document if that's where you need to be working on something next, I often am sending things to PDF. When I was making my syllabus for this class, I made it in Google Docs, downloaded it as PDF, and now you have it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can be sharing this information. Okay, something else that's really helpful from this file menu is offline capability. So you can set this file to be available to you offline, meaning without an internet connection. If you have selected that, then when you look at it again, you'll see that little circle with a check mark, meaning that it is currently available for offline access. This can be really helpful. Say you're down in an archive, say you're somewhere where you really don't have very good internet, you want to be taking notes, you want to be working on what you've got going. You can still edit this, you can access it. And then once you do have internet access again, if this is something that you've shared, that's when all of those edits that you've made will be available to those that you've shared them with. So a note that if you've got something you're doing with live collaboration and you are working offline, that you're going to get a bit of a gap if you are ever working on this without internet connection. But it is really, really helpful to be able to have full access to this because it is an internet cloud-based program. To be able to have it offline is really helpful. Okay, version history. So this is really cool too. You can open up and see the version of the document that you're working on and look at past versions, revert back to whatever you may have changed that maybe you didn't want to change, be able to track the different versions of a document that you're working on. So if you click on that version history, you can see you can either name current version. So maybe this is draft number 6, you could name it that. And then if you click on that see version history, it'll open up this panel to the right to show you all of the different versions that you've got, that you've named and saved, and you can click back and forth between those and restore those if you need to. So that's really helpful for editing, especially if you've got really large documents that you're trying to keep track of. Okay, the view menu. This is where you're going to be able to turn on and off your print layout, your ruler, outlines, full screen if you want to work in full screen. Here we can change the document mode that you are working in. So this is really similar to what we were talking about with sharing. You've got your editing, you've got your suggesting, which is like that commenting mode that we were talking about, and your viewing. So here you can change whether or not you're directly editing, you're making notes for yourself, or you just want to view it and see what it's looking like from a perspective if you're going to be sharing that document. There is also on this formatting bar, the little pencil icon. If you click that, that's a quick way to get to switching out those different modes. And then this is helpful too, the little chat bubble up at the top. If you click on that, if you are collaborating, sharing this document with somebody and people are making comments, suggesting different things, then they will show up in that chat bubble. And if you are the owner of the document, that's where you can go in and say, okay, I really like the suggestion that so-and-so made about this paragraph. I'm going to accept that change. So you can say, yes, I accept that one, and then it will change it in your document. If you go on and, oh, well, that actually doesn't really make sense, I have some better info for that one, then you can reject the suggestion and it will not make the changes to your document. So clicking on that chat bubble will get you to where people are commenting, kind of talking throughout the collaboration so that you can be handling those different changes that are suggested. Okay, so our insert menu here, again, lots of your standard options. This is where you would go if you want to put an image, want to put in a table. This is one of the newer screenshots of the more recent view because they just have added so many different things in here that you can add. Table of contents, watermarks, I thought that was a really helpful one. So look through all of these and see if any of that is going to match with what you need to be working on. Something that I do love here is there's a drawing capability that if we click on that, it will open up this little screen and you can be creating your own little charts, drawings, images, etc. So you don't have to be creating something in a different program, saving it as an image, coming back, uploading the image, trying to resize it and everything. So here in just a couple minutes, just using the basic shapes and connectors, just threw together this fun little pedigree chart that if I just need something while I'm researching, I just need to track how many Williams or where and everything, that you can just draw one of these, drop it into your document, and then it will be in there as an image. You can resize that and move that around as well. So that can be really helpful. I've also used that for if I've got like a map or a satellite image, I can make a little circle. Here's where so-and-so's land actually was here on the map. doing some land graphing with the different townships and everything if you're really getting into the details of that. So this is a really helpful tool. I do want to note that inserting footnotes is going to be in a different place than the text styles, like the headings and everything we were looking at earlier. So if you want to insert a footnote, that is here in the actual insert menu. And I hope you're inserting footnotes because those are important. Okay, inserting a table of contents. This is similar to that outline that we were working with before, but that's really just for your navigation purposes. This is actually putting a table of contents into your document. And you do have options that you can do just page numbers if you're planning to print this out, or you can have your table of contents be clickable links so that if you're sharing this with anybody digitally, they can click on the link of the different headings and they can get to there digitally that way. Okay, so our format menu, these are going to be a lot of the same options you had in the format bar, but just a few extra details because this is going to be a little bit more expandable. I do want to show you here paragraph styles. This is going to be, again, your title, subtitle, everything for creating that outline. But here you can go all the way down to heading number 6, whereas just from that bar, you can only go to number 4. So if you are getting that many generations deep, you want to have some extra options. You can get to that here. Bullets and numbering also here. This is one of my new favorite things. I'm definitely a checklist person. So it used to be that you had this like really convoluted way to use like square bullets. And then if you right click, you can like check mark it, and it just was like really clunky. But I got in to look at this new update and I was so excited to see that now you can just do a checklist menu from the bullets and numbering section. So if you didn't need to throw a checklist in anywhere, super easy to be able to do that here from the format menu. Okay, tools menu. Here we have spelling and grammar check. You've got your word count if you need that. There is another way here to get to those suggested edits, like we were talking about with that chat bubble up at the top. You can also compare different documents. If that's something that you want to have the functionality for, you can do that side by side in this program. Translating. This is really cool. So you can take your entire document and translate it into one of the languages that Google Translate supports, which as of, I guess it's March. So last month, there were 133 languages available at various levels of completion. So what you can do, say you have a document in a language that you personally don't know, you can type the whole thing up into this program, click this translate document button, choose your language, and then it'll just translate it for you, just like that. Obviously, a little caveat there, things might be translated not as literally or maybe too literally, depending on the nuance of the language that you're going to and from. But this is an incredible tool to get you started when doing research in a different language feels kind of scary and stressful. This is an excellent way, and you don't have to like have your Google Translate window open and then like type it in there and copy and paste it back and forth. You can just do it all right in the Google Docs setting. You do also have the option to do voice typing if that's something that works for you. I talk to myself all the time, so I might as well be getting written record if I'm brainstorming out loud, right? You can also change the language that it's recognizing that you're speaking. So if you're not speaking English, you can change. I'm not quite sure now that I think about it, how many languages are there to be able to input that voice typing, but it does look like you have the option to be changing that out. Okay, another one of my favorite things. Obviously, I love all of this, or I would not be teaching this class. Okay, substitutions. So we're going to go to the tools menu, down to preferences. If you open that up, we're going to click on this tab here to the side called substitutions. Click on that one. What this will do is it will take whatever you are typing and automatically replace it with whatever you want it to replace. So you can see right there below my red box that the parentheses with the lowercase c, I'm saying, yes, please turn that into the copyright symbol. So this is really, really helpful, especially if you're doing a ton of data entry. You can have it do JAN replace with January. You can do all the months that way, so you don't have to type out all the months every time. You can set it for if you want to do any like country abbreviations, but you actually want the country spelled out because that's the proper way to do it, then you can just have it automatically replace those. It is important to know that these are case sensitive. So if I do JAN in all caps, then it's going to replace with January that is in all caps. So make sure that you're aware of the case at least, but this can really, really save some time if you're doing a ton of data entry. Whew, okay, so there's Google Docs. We are going to transfer now into Google Sheets. Some of this is going to be similar. I've tried to cut out as much overlap as I can just because who needs that? But we're going to transfer in. If you have any questions about Google Docs, again, reach out to me. I guess if we are live right now, you can send me questions in the chat, but a lot of this we're going to be answering after the fact. So please reach out if you have any questions. Okay, templates for Google Sheets. Like I was saying before, these I've found to be a lot more helpful for organizing my genealogy research and goals than the ones in Google Docs. So again, you've got this gallery. You can drop it down and see all these other ones here. To-do lists, you've got travel planners, any research trips you're wanting to go on, pros and cons for evidence analysis. There's just so many options here, and I found a lot of them to be really useful. Okay, so here you have your format bar, just like in our other program. It's going to be really similar, except obviously you're going to have some capabilities for spreadsheets that you weren't going to have in Google Docs. So you've got your cell formatting, you've got your merging, borders, etc. There again is another 3-dot menu, depending on, this is going to change with how wide your window is on your browser. So you're going to get different options there. But if you ever see the 3 dots, know that that means that you have more options available. Okay, so with your edit menu, you've got your undo and redo, which is really nice. You've got your cut and copy, find and replace, etc. Okay, paste special. This is really helpful. It will allow you to paste only a portion of what you've copied. So if you have copied something, you want to paste it somewhere else, you can paste just the values, meaning just the content of the cell. You can paste just the format. So it's like, okay, this was red and I want this red, so I'm just going to copy paste only the color. You can paste column widths, which I love because I like everything to be exactly the same width. So just select a column, copy, select the whole thing, paste, and everything will change to that width. So just wanted you to know that beyond your just standard paste options, that you've got some more nuance there because of the way that this program is working as a spreadsheet. You do have these deleting options, which are available via your right-click menu if you're just going to right-click on a cell or a column or anything. But they are more specific here in the edit menu. So if you're right-clicking, like here you've got, this is right-clicking, so you can see it says like delete row, delete column, delete cells. But from that previous menu is a little bit more specific. So if you need that, then know that that's where it is. Okay, view menu. This is where you can turn on and off your grid lines, turn on and off the formula bar if you're not going to be needing that. But, okay, yeah, so here click show. This is where you can see formula bar, grid lines, etc. This is really, really helpful. This is the freeze option. And what this will do is it will set however many rows or columns as you select, and it will freeze them there at whatever, either the top or the side of your spreadsheet. So that when you're scrolling, say you've got a ton of headings up at the top and you're scrolling all the way down and it's like, what actually am I supposed to be putting in this column? Scroll back to the top. Okay, this is their marriage date. Scroll all the way back to the bottom. This will freeze those headings. So no matter where you're scrolling, you can know what each column or row is for. So if you click on that freeze button, you can see you can freeze 1 row, 2 row, up to row 34, because that's where I happened to click in the spreadsheet. So wherever you click, it will give you the option to that row or that column. And then when you have frozen a portion of your spreadsheet, kind of hard to see, but there's this gray kind of like thick line that will show up. And that's how you know, okay, I'm frozen to that point. And then what you can see here is as I'm scrolling down, those headings stay up at the top. So no matter how far down I go, I will know which of these columns is which. So that's really helpful for massive research logs where you just are needing to be able to keep track of that better. Okay, insert menu. Again, a lot of these things are pretty similar. You've got insert cells, insert rows, etc. I do want to show you rows and columns. So if you're just clicking on a spreadsheet, you go here and I'll say insert one row above or below, for example. Let's say you want to insert a lot more than just one at a time, because that can be really time consuming, let's be honest. So if you, before you click on that menu, if you select either however many rows or columns you want to insert, so here I've just selected a chunk of this spreadsheet, and then I go back to that insert menu, now it's saying insert 14 rows above or below. So that way you can just be adding really quickly a big chunk of spreadsheet instead of insert one, insert one, insert one. So good to know. Checkboxes, again, one of my favorite things. You can just turn your cell into a checkbox itself. So if you click on that, you can see over on the side, I inserted these checkboxes to the right, and then you just click on them and click off so that you can be seeing what you're working on, which is so satisfying to be able to check things off a list. Thank you, Mom, for teaching me that. Okay, format menu here. This is, again, really similar to your format bar. So we've got a lot of these formatting capabilities. I do want to talk about number here. So this will let you customize how your dates and other data is going to appear in your spreadsheet. So if you click on that, open it to the side, you can see you've got a lot of like the accounting, financial stuff. You've got some scientific aspects in there, which is more in my engineer husband's scope of things. But I love down at the bottom, I can do more date formats. So you can do some custom date and times. So this way you can set everything to match the date format of whatever genealogy software you're using to be able to keep things consistent across the board. Play with some of those formats. Maybe you'll find something else that you like to customize that's really helpful, but you can just know that you can be customizing the way that that's showing up in your spreadsheet. Conditional formatting. So this is setting rules for your sheet so that your cells, rows, columns, whatever, are going to be changing their formatting based on the rules that you apply. So let's say we click on that conditional formatting. You can see here that there are already a few rules for this template that I pulled up. Some of them are saying if it's done, make that whole row gray, right? So we've got a couple of those on there. One of them in progress, okay, make the text this color. So if you click on add another rule here, then you can be creating your own custom formatting rules. So I just made a silly little one. I just said, in this range, the entire spreadsheet, if there's a letter S, turn the whole cell green, right? Just for an easy one to see. So you can see that's just about everything. Time does not have an S, so that one was not highlighted green. I did notice, and you should as well, that some of the other conditional formatting rules overrode that, right? So you can see in some of like that in progress, that did not change green because it already has its own conditional formatting rule. So maybe just be aware that you're going to have to figure out how those are going to work together for whatever you're wanting to format. Okay, alternating colors. This is really nice. It has its own section because they probably figured out that everybody was doing it the slow way, but you can just select your range. I usually do my whole sheet. And then you can just set it to have every other row be a different color, and you can choose the color so that you can just have your real easy viewing there. So that's nice to know that they've built that in. Data and tools menus. You're going to get a lot of options here for sorting, filtering, spelling. Tools menu here, you can create a form, which is like a class in and of itself. So if you have interest in that, reach out to me and I can kind of talk you through how to create a form. But if you do create a form, then that connects to a spreadsheet and it will automatically make a spreadsheet for all the answers for your form. So when I was working on an AG before they split up my area, and now I have to figure out a new area to do, I created a form to track my hours. And then it would automatically input, for this state, I have this many hours, this state, I have this many hours. So that was a really helpful tool for me there. Okay, your help menu here is really nice. They give you this option. Okay, we'll talk about this first. I was going to talk about that. Well, yeah. So up at the very top, you can see it says search the menus. If you have something you need to do and you don't know which menu it's in, or maybe you don't know quite exactly what it's called, you can search in that little box and it will show you which menu and what button to push for what you want to do. So that's just a nice tool to get some kind of live help from the program itself instead of having to click on all the menus and, oh, can I even do this? What should I try to look for? Keyboard shortcuts are really helpful. Let me get this out of the way for myself. So if we click on that keyboard shortcuts, oh, switch my program real quick. Thank you. Okay, so there's a ton of options in here, and not all of them are going to be useful to you. I'm sure there's some in here that are going to be useful to you that I don't necessarily use all the time, but this is just going to be able to get you around your sheet really easily. So please go click through some of those and find a new favorite shortcut. Some of my favorites are Control Space will select the entire column that you've clicked on. Shift Space will select your entire row that you're currently clicked on. Control Shift and then any of your arrow keys will select everything in that direction. So it will get you all the way down to the top or the bottom of the sheet or all the way to the side so that you don't have to click and drag and wait for it to like load as you're going all the way to the side. Okay, so some helpful tips here. I'm not sure exactly how much time I've got left because we started so late and I've been plowing through. But let's go through these. So some tips here, row and column resizing. We talked a little bit about pasting column width, but if you select a certain amount of rows or columns and then you resize one of them, all of the ones that are selected will switch to be that width or that height. So that's really nice to do all of that at the same time. If you ever need to select the entire sheet, you can just click on this little square in between your rows and your column headings, which I feel like I figured that out way too late. So you probably might even know that already, but that was a fun find for me. Okay, yeah, I do want to talk about, so when you're working in Google Sheets, down at the very bottom, you've got multiple sheets within this like workbook that you're working on. So you look down at the bottom, you right click on one of those, you can rename it, you can delete it, you can duplicate it, you can color code them, which is how my brain works. So I've got all mine in different colors. I just wanted you to know that there are multiple sheets down there at the bottom, but also that you can be in control of how those are showing. You can drag them and reorder them however you want. So just be aware that you have some capabilities with that. Okay, Control Enter. This will give you a new line in a cell since Enter sends you all the way down to the next cell, but maybe you want to be able to add more information in just the one. So if you're typing, you want to add in a new row within that cell, you just do Control Enter, and that will give you the ability to get more than one line of text within one cell. Similar to the version history that we had, if you right click on the cell, you can see the edit history for just that cell so that you know what's been done there, what changes have been made. You can kind of keep track of that. Auto resizing your columns and rows. This is really helpful too. If you hover your mouse between the columns or the letters of those columns and then you double click, it will automatically resize that back to the content on your left, to the cell on the left. So you can also do that on your rows to shorten them up automatically to however much content is in there. And that's just a nice way to not have to like click and drag it and find the exact right spot before your text like disappears or wraps down to the bottom. So double clicking between those is going to be what gives you access to just that quick auto resizing. Okay, so I do want to show some examples for you really quick. All of these examples I have linked in the syllabus material. So you can click back into that. They're live links. You can go in, you can move around. You can see the formatting that I've used. You probably could copy even some formatting and switch it over to your sheets if that looks like it's helpful for you. Maybe don't copy the entire thing, but you can be using that. I want that to be a tool for you to explore the different options of things that you can do in Google Sheets. So here's a research log that I have created for however long ago this was. You can see I've got all of my headings. I've got that first row frozen. So as far down as I scroll, I'll be able to have that row visible to me. I also really like to function within research objectives instead of just, here's my timeline, for the entirety of this family because that family is generations long and I need to know where I'm at, right? So I like to format one row. I just merge it all together, change color so I can see really easily. Here's my objective, find birth, marriage, and death records for these two people. And then underneath that, I'll put in all of my different searches. Here's where I was, here's what I searched. Did I find anything, yes or no? So I can keep track of all of my searches in that way. And by using the freeze tool and the formatting, it's a really clear-cut, easy research log to navigate for myself and for anyone I might share that with. Okay, family timelines. I'm obsessed with timelines. These are so helpful. So you can see on the left-hand side, I've got the individual's name. I have their family search PID number, that little license plate looking number. And then to the side, I've just created a timeline and I've put in what I know or expect their birth to be, their marriage and their death. And then I format those green for vital events so that my brain can see at what point in their life we're looking at. And then I will go through and between all those, I'll just put every US Census year if that's where I'm researching. This is everything I should be finding for this person. Or here in this case, this top person, I know there was a divorce at some point. I've got a second marriage. When did that happen? And how can I track that? So this is a really nice way to just get a visual of who I'm working with. And again, I've got that top row frozen. So whoever I'm scrolling through, usually if it's helpful for you, usually I'll do married couples in this so I can see at what point their lives are crossing. So I know where about to look for a marriage record if I don't have that yet. But I found that doing this in couples instead of entire family groups is a little bit easier for navigation and for organizing. But you do however you want. That's what this is for you to customize and do whatever you want with. Okay, census chart that I made for some friends a while back. This just has all of the US censuses listed across the top, the information in those censuses down the bottom, and I've just made this mass of checkboxes, and I can say yes, 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 no, yes. Here's everything that you can expect to find in these different censuses if you're researching there. Okay, so for the times that I've done professional client work, creating timesheets. So this is my formatted timesheet that I've created. I've got some formulas in there to calculate how much time I have left based on how much time I've been granted for that project. I can change my rate if necessary, hours times rate, be able to just have this auto fill out as I'm tracking my hours, and then download that as a PDF, just like we can do in Google Docs and get that sent off. A goal tracker. This is going to be really helpful for if you do have a blog. I had a blog for a while back. Not for too long. It was just something I was trying out, but this was really helpful for keeping track of my content ideas. And I could just go in and drop in an idea. And then once it became a blog post, I could say, okay, I've started this one, I've posted this one, I've contacted this person about this. And again, was a really nice kind of auto-formatted template for keeping track of all of that. I can see this being really helpful for a society or an organization that is trying to track what everybody else is working on, have one collaborative document that everyone can be sharing things on. So use your imagination, find how this can work better for you. I'm just trying to show you all these different options you have and all of these different formatting tools so that you can make this work for you. All right, well, that's everything that I had to share on this. I'm so glad that you were able to tune in and listen. I hope that it was helpful. I do want to remind you, we're trying to get some really good feedback from you as attendees for RootsTech. If you can get onto the RootsTech app, find my session down at the very bottom by the syllabus attachment, there should be a little survey button. If you click on that survey, let me know how I did. I would absolutely love to know that, and I know RootsTech would too. So please, in all the sessions you're in, be aware of giving that feedback. So thank you. I really am so happy with how many of you have been listening, and I hope that it's been helpful. Please, please, please reach out to me if you need to. All this contact info is in the syllabus. I'm happy to help with whatever I can, and I really appreciate all of your support, and I hope that this has been helpful for you.
Thank you. I mean, that was great. Sorry
Whew.
again about all the technical issues. We're still recording for a little longer. If you want to take a couple questions that I got from the chat.
Oh, sure. We can do that.
Yeah, it did look like we went back live a few minutes ago, so I think people will still catch a little bit of it before it cuts off. for
Perfect.
them. But everything will be in the recording later. Don't worry, guys. So we had Robert earlier. He was asking if there are genealogy templates in docs or sheets that they can be downloaded and used.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about that. Nothing in there that I've seen is genealogy specific, but it's all about adapting what you need and adapting, I guess, the template to fit what you need it to be. So like I said, in Google Docs, there aren't as many templates that I have found would be helpful. There was like a newsletter. If you're writing a newsletter, you could adapt that pretty easily. But in Google Sheets, there is a lot more planning templates that you can use for research planning, research logs, collaborative information sharing, that type of stuff. So nothing genealogy specific, but anything can be about genealogy if you make it about genealogy, right?
Thank you. And then another one that was interesting was Suzanne was asking, can I take a PDF? Apparently she has PDFs that has her pedigree charts and copy them into Google Docs so that she can share those.
That's a really good question. I'm not sure about the import capability of Google Docs. So if you're still listening, email me and I will click around and I'll see if you can do that. I'm not aware right now of any way that you can import a PDF. You might be able to convert it. I'll figure it out. I'll look at it, and whoever asked that question, please feel free to reach out to me and we'll see if we can figure that out for you, because that would be really helpful.
Thank you. I did think it might be a little bit more involved, but that was an interesting issue that more people might have. Okay, I think that's it. We have lots of thank yous here at the end to thank you for your presentation was very good.
Yes, thanks for
Um,
your patience with technical issues. It's never fun, but we get it worked out in the end, and hopefully that we got enough good content out of this one and everybody can get access to all the other sessions as well.
yeah, that's right. Well, thank you, Amy, and thank you everyone. We'll close here. Bye.